For the last few weeks over Instagram and Twitter, I have been seeing some of the most incredible sunset photos that people have been managing to capture. And by that, you might be wondering, how are people getting these, kind of cool photos? Well, lucky for you, in today's video, we'll be covering the basics on what you need to know and how to prepare to get those perfect sunset photos that you've always been dreamed of getting. Stay tuned to learn more, and be sure to stay till the end, as I will be dropping a free preset pack that you will be able to use to go alongside your sunset photos. Hey guys, Dylan here, and welcome to today's video on how to get those perfect sunset photos that I mentioned in the intro. First things first is location scouting. In order to achieve the best possible looking photo, you need to do a little bit of research on what locations in your area have consistent sunsets. In my case, since I'm located in Tampa, Florida, I will be using the top 5 locations that I have personally scouted out on my own as the examples in this video. Quick side note, if you are in the Tampa area or somewhere nearby, you can check the link in the description down below to check out the top 5 locations that I personally scouted out that, again, I will be using in this video for those perfect sunset locations. The reason why it's good to have a few known locations that are consistent with sunsets is because, quite frankly, they just happen so fast. With my experiences, you may have a maximum of 10 to 15 minutes at most to get that 1 or 2 shots that you're looking for. So in that case, you pretty much have no room for error at all, especially if you have a few concepts in mind that you're trying to achieve while that sun is setting. Another good reason to have known locations ready to go off the bat is, well, like I just said, you're going to be shooting around the sunset, and if you have 1, 2, 3, or 4 different kind of concepts, you want to be able to move quickly in between, each spot. If one spot is, a 2.5 minute walk between, point A to point B, then you want to factor that time in rather than being, oh, let me get this shot, and then you look at the sun and you're like, oh crap, like I got to get to the next spot, and by the time you get there, that sun's gone. So having those known locations in mind while preparing for the shoot that you're doing and for the concepts that you're going to be using alongside is definitely going to help you in the long run, especially if you're working with a few models that, quite frankly, aren't always going to be there. So being prepared will definitely help you set yourself apart from other photographers that kind of just go willy-nilly and try and figure it out on the go. Alongside having those main locations already planned out, sending some concept photos to the model that you'll be shooting with can also help speed up time. Like I said, you're shooting at a sunset, so you only have that window of 10 to 15 minutes. So if the model already knows what concept you guys are going to be shooting, she can already get into that state of mind as opposed to just throwing it at her when you guys are shooting. So a good practice that I usually do is either A, I'll send a Pinterest mood board to the model beforehand, B, I will send the location so the model kind of can see the location, or C, I will send some photos that I have done in that area already, so they have a good idea of what to expect and what the look and feel will be while we are shooting. One of the next steps in preparing for your sunset photo shoot is making sure your gear is in working order. Like I said before, you have a very limited amount of time, so if you have an off-camera flash that isn't working before the shoot or even when you're shooting, you don't want to be screwed. You want to make sure that everything is in working order so that you're not left in the dark, literally. You're not left in the dark while shooting. And again, to follow up the speeding up trend that I've been laying out in this video, knowing the gear that you're going to be bringing and knowing the gear that you're going to be shooting on will definitely help speed up that process. As most photographers know, different lenses can create different looks, different feels, and different emotions depending on who you're shooting with, what they're wearing, what's going on in the background, what's going on in the foreground. Everything has its role and everything has its place. So knowing what kind of lenses, what kind of focal distance you'll be shooting on and shooting with, again, will help speed up that process that I keep telling you about. As far as lenses to shoot on, I recommend shooting between 35 and 100 millimeter, mainly because that's just a good focal range depending on what you're trying to get. If you're trying to show off more of, what's going on in like the background, kind of like what's going on back here, this is a 35 millimeter lens on a Super 35. But technical specs aside, this is the kind of look that I would go for if I want to show more of the background. If I want to go for something a little bit more tight or something a little bit more compressed, something that I can pull more emotion out of my model with, I'll use an 85. But for those of you that don't shoot on primes, that don't like to shoot on primes, even this 24-70 works spectacular. It gives you a lot of room to play with, and it's a fast lens. It's an f2.8, so it's really good for low light situations you're going to be thrown into, especially with the sunsetting. It's pretty obvious you're not going to have much light right after the sun sets, so having a good lens, that's why I shoot on primes, a good lens that has a fast aperture, pretty important. And pairing that with a full frame sensor, the sky's the limit essentially with the possibilities of creation with this thing. But all that technical stuff aside, what really matters is going into the shoot knowing what you're trying to get, knowing how you're going to get that, and then at the end of the day, executing on that with whoever you shoot with and wherever you shoot these sunset photos. So rather than this video just carry on with me sitting here and showing you before and afters of some sunset photos that I took recently, I'm actually going to take you along on one of my shoots and kind of show you how I do things, how pretty much the behind the scenes, that BTS of what I'm doing. For this case, we'll be shooting in Clearwater, Florida, and well, I'll see you guys there with our model, Alyssa. All right, so we're here in location in Clearwater, Florida. It's one of the top 5 locations that I'll be posting in the blog post down below. That's completely separate to this. It goes along with what we're shooting with today with the whole sunset theme. As far as what I'm gonna be shooting on, I use a 5D Mark IV. I'm gonna be shooting on a 35mm Sigma 1.4. I also have an 85 1.8 from Canon. These are my 2 favorite lenses. They're prime lenses. Go really well with shooting portraits and whatnot. I also have a GoPro Hero 7. This is kind of like your over-the-shoulder view of what I'm shooting. So if I'm not using this camera, then you'll be seeing this. And then Alyssa's behind the camera there. You'll see her. Well, we'll talk whenever we're out on the beach. But yes, this is the whole sunset theme part of this video, and I'll see you guys at the beach. All right, so now that we're back from shooting with Alyssa, let's go ahead and take a look in Lightroom and see what we got. Side note, Lightroom is an amazing piece of software, especially for doing your selects from shoots, especially from this shoot, there was over 570 something photos, and I used Lightroom to go through and pick out my favorite ones, which is what I'm going to show you on here. Alright, so taking a look here on Lightroom, again, these are already pre-selected from what I really liked. We're just going to go ahead and go into this view here. Let's go to the beginning. So this was shot on a 35. I really wanted to show a little bit more of her body. This was the first look that we went for. As you can see, you know, everything in the background is nice and blurry because, again, we're shooting on a prime, so you get a pretty fast aperture. And let's see what we got here. Shot at f2.8, so pretty fast, 1600 a second, 100 ISO, and everything looks spectacular in this. There's some other ones that we got. What I was really going for with this look of her just kind of sitting on the beach here and me getting her from a side angle is I really wanted to show her body a little bit more, especially with the way that the sun was hitting. Everything was glowing really nice. It wasn't golden hour just yet. Again, sticking to that 35mm prime, I'm actually able to get, you know, a little close up in here, and as you can see, the detail, just the pure detail from this camera is incredible, especially shooting on such a sharp lens as this Sigma art right here. You can pull some insane amount of detail out of the photos. For this photo in specific, I was going for that similar look in the first set that she was going, in the first outfit that she was wearing, with the bikini top. The white really contrasts well with her skin, as well as, you know, again, I had that background very similar to the first pose that I showed off, but this is the look that I was really going for. Here the sun was setting a little bit more, so we were getting a bit more of a golden glow on her. Again, here's something a little bit more similar, just pulled back more. And then again, with the 35, I can show off her body a little bit more. I had her kind of spread out on the sand here, show her body off a little bit more. That's why I shot from an angle, so that, you know, we could see the side of her body and then her legs, of course, in the back. I really love this because right where this area was, the water, the waves were going in and out. So we have, you know, really nice reflection here. That we can play with in, you know, with the color correction and whatnot. And yes, these photos are color corrected. This is what it looked like straight out of the camera. Still really great colors, but this little preset that I have on here, again, this will be available to download for you guys 100% free, so that you can get some similar looking colors. Again, still sticking on a 35 prime because I love how sharp these are. They just look absolutely incredible. Here's where I switch over to an 85. The reason why I switched over to an 85 here rather than a 35, as I wanted to compress that background a little bit more, fill her more in the frame, rather than having that background be most of what's in the frame. This, I really wanted her to fill the frame. Love this. This is right after sunset. Find that after sunset, you can get some pretty dope looking photos. It's called I call it the afterburn effect. After that sun sets, you still have about 5 to 10 minutes to play with some of the light going on in the background, and you get some of these really beautiful purple and pink hues alongside with some red and some orange, and it goes really well with the red bathing suit that she was wearing. Absolutely love what I was able to capture with Alyssa here. She was an awesome model. As you saw in the BTS, she's easy to work with, absolutely easy to work with. But yeah, pretty much it. Before I end this video, here's some before and afters. Of course, these are after I did some stuff in Photoshop. Here's some of the before and afters. go ahead and drop a like and a comment on this video. Let me know what you thought of this video. Hopefully it was helpful. And again, if you want my free preset pack that I use to color grade all of the photos that you saw in today's video, please be sure to check out the link in the description. By all means, use them for whatever you want, but they're yours to use. Other than that, thank you for watching, and please be sure to leave a like, drop a comment, subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next one.